We begin with breaking news. Former Mayor Catherine Pugh has been indicted. She's facing federal charges from conspiracy to commit wire fraud, conspiracy to defraud the U.S., and tax evasion, all coming from her sales of her children's book, Healthy Holly. She resigned from office after the scandal back in May. Now, a press conference will be held at the U.S. Attorney's Office in Baltimore at 10 o'clock this morning. WJZ investigator Mike Helgren joins us on the phone with more on the indictment. Mike, what more can you tell us?
Well, Max, we know they've been working on this for some time. There are 11 counts here, and the mayor faces more than 100 years in prison if she is convicted. We have yet to hear from her attorney. Speaking of that tax fraud, back in 2016, she said she only made a little more than $30,000. She actually made more than $300,000, the government alleges. They also allege that she was secretly funneling the proceeds from that Healthy Holly children's book into her campaign fund and trying to disguise that, and that's one of those violations. They also indicted several of her associates, one of them, Gary Brown Jr., who helped handle her nonprofit and handled some tax returns. He has already pleaded guilty in this case. This indictment actually was handed down on November 14th. It was unsealed today. The mayor has an upcoming court appearance. She is expected to self-surrender to the U.S. Marshals. But this all came to light, actually, back in March when we learned about some $800,000 in proceeds that the mayor had gotten for her Healthy Holly book. And she ended up resigning in May, saying she was sorry for the harm that she had caused. But we haven't really heard from her since even before that, when she had that bizarre press conference when she was touting her line of children's clothing. And she initially said that these charges were a witch hunt against her. This has brought a number of reforms to organizations like UMNS, the large medical center. She was on the board, and they reformed how that board was handled, that there would be no more self-dealing on that board, people who were on the board getting money for doing services like the Healthy Holly children's books, and some of those books were never even delivered. Again, the mayor has been indicted on 11 different counts, faces lengthy federal prison sentences. We're expected to hear from the U.S. attorney coming up at 10 o'clock, but he did put a statement out saying our elected officials must place the interests of the citizens above their own. Corrupt public employees rip off the taxpayers and undermine everyone's faith in government. The U.S. Attorney's Office and our law enforcement partners will zealously pursue those who abuse the taxpayers' trust and bring them to justice. Max?
So the troubles surrounding Pugh have been well documented. So you spent a lot of time with Catherine Pugh as well as her supporters in Baltimore. What do you think their reaction to this news will be, Mike?
Well, I remember being outside her house when all this was really at its peak, just before she resigned, and they held a prayer circle for her. She had people who were coming to her home and staying with her. Remember, she said she had pneumonia. She was very ill. She never personally made an appearance when she resigned. She let her lawyer do the talking, that very, very brief press conference. But I know she has a number of close friends and supporters, and I'm sure she has people who are going to be trying to provide her some sort of support. Again, we haven't heard from her attorney in this, but once you're federally charged, I mean, these are going to be very tough charges to fight. And remember, they collected a lot of evidence, including those raids at City Hall and both of the mayor's homes.
Okay, if you're just joining us, former Mayor Catherine Pugh has been indicted. She's facing federal charges from conspiracy to commit wire fraud, conspiracy to defraud the U.S., and tax evasion coming from her sales of her children's book, Healthy Holly. The press conference at the U.S. Attorney's Office in Baltimore at 10 a.m. That was WJZ investigator Mike Helgren reporting live on the phone. Mike, thank you very much for your time.